Happy May. I just realized you can see my door. Let's move that. All right. I love buying books in May. So this is going to be a vlog about all the books I buy in May. I have a birthday in May, and I'm going to be doing a lot of book-related shopping for that birthday. I'm going to have my books from Book of the Month, which I ordered, and will show you a clip of when I did that because I did it very early in the morning before I filmed this intro. And then I'm going to go to a bunch of bookstores on my birthday, and I'm going to have a few things coming in from Amazon. I already got a book from my mom yesterday because we went out to lunch for my birthday, and I'll show you that later. And yeah, so it's going to be a bookish spring vlog. I've never done a vlog before, so hopefully this goes okay. I've had a few attempted vlogs, but you've never seen them. But this is the one I'm going to stick through and do it. You'll also probably get to see some pastries because I also like pastries on my birthday, and maybe some crafting supplies. I am going to give myself a loose book budget, and it's going to be $200. So everything I ordered from Amazon was about $60, but one thing wasn't a book item, so I'm not sure if I'm going to count that in my total. And that thing was $30. So I'll think about it as to whether or not that's actually going to count. But either way, I have around $150 left to spend, which means I will probably be spending a lot of money at Half Price Books to make that $150 go as far as possible. So buckle up, not buckle up. This is going to be a relaxing vlog with probably, hopefully, some like pretty spring stuff spliced in. And yeah, let's get to vlogging. Good morning. It's May 1st, and Book of the Month just released their May books. I know that because I accidentally opened the app this morning when I was trying to open my Weather Channel app because they're right next to each other and they're both blue. And so I did see the first title, but it was one. This is the month that I've spent the most time trying to figure out what the picks are going to be, and it was one that I thought it might be. So let's go through. Let's pick out some books. Let's pick out, I think I get a birthday book. I don't know, we'll see. Okay, so the first book is The Collected Regrets of Clover by Mickey Bramer. It's a contemporary fiction about a death doula, and I have seen that one before. And I'm not sure because it says it's going to be really sad, and I'm a big crier. The next is Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. This was one of the clues. It's a romantic comedy, which is not my jam. The next one was The Other Clue, which is The Last Word by it's by Taylor Adams. While house sitting, Emma Carpenter starts encountering eerie things after posting a negative review of a horror novel. I think I want to get that one because I don't have any thrillers on my TBR right now. Ooh, I didn't see this one. The next one is called Did You Hear About Kitty Carr? It's a historical fiction by Crystal Smith Paul. One woman's decision to pass as white reverberates through generations in this riveting exploration of race and fame. I'm surprised I didn't see that one when I was looking for it. The next is The Half Moon by Mary Beth Keane, lit fic. A husband drowning in debt and a wife grappling with infertility have their relationship tested during a winter storm. The next, there's like three that I really wanted, and I don't think they're going to be in here. The next is Paper Names by Susie Luo. It's a lit fic, singed by New York's melting pot. An immigrant family continues to fight movingly for a piece of the American dream. Okay, I hope one of the books I wanted is an add-on. Give me some add-ons. Oh no, I'm so sad. No Atalanta. Oh, here we go. Okay. Clytemnestra, which is one of the ones I wanted, is an add-on. The Secret Book of Flora Lee, which I thought was going to be an add-on, is an add-on as well. Okay. I can get Clytemnestra. That makes me happy. Clytemnestra by Costanza Casati. This warrior queen won't tolerate disrespect from her king or anyone else in this biting saga of female vengeance. It's over 400 pages, but I kind of don't care. For fans of Madeline Miller's Circe, a stunning debut following Clytemnestra, the most notorious villainess of the ancient world, and the events that forged her into the legendary queen. I never thought of her as a villain. As for queens, they're either hated or forgotten. She already knows which option, it's very early, suits her best.
You were born to a king, but you married a tyrant. You stand by helplessly as he sacrifices your child to placate the gods. You watch him wage war on a foreign shore. You comfort yourself with violent thoughts of your own, because this was not the first offense against you. This was not the life you ever deserved, and this will not be your undoing. Slowly you plot, but when your husband returns in triumph, you become a woman with a choice. Acceptance or vengeance, infamy follows both, so you bide your time and force the gods' hands into a game of retribution. For you understand something long ago the others never did. If power isn't given to you, you have to take it for yourself. Let's look at the sample. Clytemnestra looks down at the steep ravine, but can see no trace of dead bodies. She searches for cracked skulls, broken bones, corpses eaten by wild dogs and pecked by vultures, but nothing. There are only a few brave flowers growing between the cracks, their petals white against the darkness of the ravine. She wonders how they managed to grow in such a place of death. Okay, let's add that to my cart. Add to box. Let's go back to the May books. Well, I know I want the last word, so let's add that one. I'm a little sad. Not like sad, but like slightly disappointed about the choices this month. Also, it's not saying that I have a birthday book. I thought I had a birthday book. I don't think I want to get the Collected Regrets of Clover. I'm just like not thinking I want to have like a big cry. I don't read the rom-coms. I feel like this historical fiction, Did You Hear About Kitty Carr, is also going to be really sad. It's also over 400 pages. I don't know if I want to get 2 books that are over 400 pages. I'm also currently, my computer shows my text messages, and all the women who live on my block right now are picking out what concerts we should go to together this summer. So I'm getting like 8,000 texts at the same time. Ladies, don't you know that I am picking out my book of the month picks? Yeah, I think I'm just going to get 2. I was totally planning on getting 3, but I think I'm just going to get 2. What's on my TBR shelf? I haven't gotten one. It's The Last Wish from Dolly. Don't really feel like reading that this month. Chakraborty. I'm not going to read that one until I finish. Kingdom of Copper. I've seen The Last Tale of the Flower Bride everywhere. I don't know. I go back and forth. I feel like I usually really like the thrillers I get from Book of the Month. Same with the contemporary fiction. I think the fantasy is like 75% love and then 25% like, I didn't like that at all. So it's not over 400 pages, so that's good. I don't like getting like a huge fantasy book that I'm not gonna be into. Oh, I kind of want this one now, I think. Okay, maybe that one. Malibu Rising. This just doesn't... I really loved The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo and Daisy Jones and the Six. But this one just like didn't sound that good to me. I think I might go with The Last Tale of the Flower Bride. Let's add that one. So what do I have in my box? I have 2 fantasies and a thriller. I think that's good. I think that's a good plan. What do you think? Yeah, I think we're going with that. The Last Word by Taylor Adams is my pick, which is a thriller. And then The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshani Chokshi, I think is how you say their last name. And then Clytemnestra by Costanza Casati. I'm just realizing this means I can't buy Atalanta for my birthday because it doesn't come out till after my birthday, which is kind of a bummer, but I'm still going to buy it because I really want Atalanta. Shoot, I was really hoping that was going to be a Book of the Month pick so I could get it early. Oh, well. I always feel like when there are months when I'm like down on the picks, I end up absolutely loving. Last May, I didn't want to skip it because Siren Queen was an add-on by Nevo, and I really love Nevo. And I didn't really want any of the picks, but I got Breathless by Amy McCulloch, and then I ended up loving that book. So I think that there'll be something I end up loving. All right, let's check out. See you later. So this video wasn't supposed to have any unhauling in it. And sorry you're so close to my face, I'm picking something up and walking. But I just realized, excuse my messy corner, that my Book of the Month shelf is completely full. And today I filmed my April wrap-up, and now I have 3 more Book of the Month books
that need to fit on there, which is not going to happen. I usually like to keep just everything from the last year, and I have 4 books. Ooh, you could have right on my mouth for that one. I have 4 books from March and April of last year, so it's probably time to put those either on my main shelf or give them away. So I have nowhere to set this down. That'll be a good angle. I have a rolly chair on my desk. Let's see how it goes. Ooh, nope. Ooh, what about this pink chair behind me? Are you gonna work? You're a little crooked. Ah, more than a little crooked. Don't fall. Hold on. Let's see if this notebook will work. Enough. All right, so the books I have from last year, this is gonna make such a mess, are The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. I did not really like this book, and I don't think I'll ever want it for like a thriller recommendation, so I think I might sell that to Half Price Books. We'll see how much I get for it. And then I have The Cartographers by Peng Shepherd, which I also didn't really like. This one, I don't think I'd ever really recommend this one either. There was just so many like random things that didn't sit well with me as both a parent and a librarian. So let's sell that one too. Next, I've got The Book of Cold Cases by Simone St. James. And I love this book, so I'm going to keep this book. I would definitely recommend that one. That'll go on the main shelf. And then I have Kayakei by Vaishnavi Patel, which I really didn't like that much. But now that I think about it, I might put these on my Facebook Marketplace. My town has like a private one. I might put these 3 on there because I bet someone would buy these ones. Probably. All right. I'm going to put those 3 on Facebook Marketplace. I'm going to set this up so it looks nicer because now those are all falling down. And yeah, I'm not going to record that part though because I just don't have it set up for it. And you'd just be looking at the back of my head the entire time. See ya. several days after my birthday now. And it's very loud in my house right now. It's like someone's sweatshirt with a very loud zipper is in the dryer. My kids are in the basement. Hopefully the audio quality for this portion of the vlog isn't going to be too terrible. We're going to muster on though, because the light is good. I also just finished this gallery wall behind me, which I'm very proud of. My favorite picture is that one, which I bought on the street in Paris in 2004. And then I found out later that it is the cover of an old magazine in which you could use to find condoms in the early 1900s, which is even more exciting. Okay, so let's go over my book haul. 2 things aren't here yet. They're supposed to arrive. One is supposed to arrive today, and one, it said it was going to arrive today, and I know it's not going to. And I'm just going to film this now because I don't want to wait anymore. So the first is Atalanta by Jennifer Saint. And today is the release day, which is why it's not here yet. It's going to get here before 10 p.m., which who knows? I don't want to film this at 9 o'clock at night. That is a mythology retelling by the same author who did Ariadne and Electra. And I'm very excited to read it. And the other is Grimm and Barrett by Juliet Cross. This is the final book in the Stay a Spell series about the Savoy sisters living in New Orleans who are witches and them meeting all their soulmates. Also very excited for that one. That one is indie published, and paperbacks with indie publishings are a little tricky because you can't really, they're like print on demand. So it's not going to be here today, I don't think, even though today's the release day. We'll see. I forgot to mention, I did a video in which I talked about all the books I wanted to buy for my birthday, and I'll try to remember to link it up here so you can see how well I did. But I did a pretty good job. So let's start with the first place I went on my birthday, which was an indie bookstore in my town. Well, let me grab what I got there. I have this enormous bag right now that my sister gave me for my birthday, and this thing is full of books, and that was really heavy. The first book I bought was Life in 5 Senses by Gretchen Rubin. I've really wanted to read this for a while, and you know what? I already read it. This was the first book I read after my birthday, and it was cool. My dryer's singing to let me know it's done. It was a really cool read. I almost never read this kind of book, but I really liked it. It's broken into sections on each of the 5 senses and how this author spent about a year kind of diving into appreciating her senses more. And I liked it, and it did really make me think more about like how we perceive the world around us through our 5 main senses. It was interesting. The other book I got from that store was No Two Persons by Erica Bauermeister. I have not read this one yet. This is about someone who writes a novel, and then it's about the 9 people, I think, who each read the novel and what it means to them. And this just sounded like something I would really enjoy a lot, and I've got it on my list to get to soon. I did buy an unbelievable amount of books, so it will be read soon. I tried to really spread out my purchases over several different bookstores. So I got 2 books at every bookstore I went to. So those are the 2 at the first bookstore. Now let's go to the second bookstore. Okay, so I was a little disappointed. I don't know if that's the right word. When I got to this second bookstore, which is a bookstore I used to work at. So I really like being there because it just reminds me of, you know, that time in my life. But I had a very long list of books I was looking for that were mostly backlist because I got these two new releases at the first bookstore. And they didn't have any of the backlist books I was looking for. And so I got a little disheartened. And then I just thought to myself, I don't have anything to do today other than enjoy myself. So I'm going to just wander around and find 2 books I want to read. And that was actually like a really nice way to spend my time there. Also, the vibe of the store has a new owner from when I worked there. And it completely changed because when I worked there, we had very strict rules about what kind of music could be playing. And we had to be playing classical music unless it was November and December, we had to be playing Christmas music. So you can imagine this could get like really annoying, especially because the classical music we listened to was pretty much the exact same classical music every day. And they were listening to like women of the 60s and 70s, and You're So Vain came on, and I noticed I was standing like kind of near this woman who's probably like in her mid 60s, And all of a sudden we were both like, and all the girls dream that they'd be your partner. And I'm like, I'm jamming. This is the vibe. This is the correct vibe. So here's what I got there. The first thing I got was The Prophet by I never know how to say this person's first name. Khalil, I think is how you say it, Gibran. And I've wanted to read this forever. And I remember selling it so much when I worked at this bookstore that I saw it and I was like, oh, I'm going to get this. I talked recently about how I've been kind of like off classics and maybe I just haven't been reading the right classics. This felt like a good classic. I also really liked that it's very small because this is like the perfect size book I can fit in my purse when I'm, taking my kids to the dentist or whatever. And it's an easy read. It's very short, so I'm sure I'll read it very quickly. But yeah, I was kind of in like a little bit of like a self-helpy mood with the Five Senses book and this one, but looking forward to it. And then next, I got Witches by Brenda Lozano, which I had seen a ton of on, I can't remember if it was BookTube or Bookstagram a few months ago. And I saw it and was like, you know what? I kind of want to read this book. And I like books about witches. And I'm currently on page 138. Oh, my hair's falling out. And enjoying it. It's an interesting read because it's got two narrators. And one narrator is a stream of conscious writing and one is not. And I'm really enjoying the juxtaposition of those two. It takes place in Mexico City. It's translated from Spanish into English. And so far, I think the translator did a pretty good job. I don't know. I obviously don't speak Spanish, so I can't compare. But I'm definitely getting like very strong Mexico City vibes in one person's narrative. And then in the other person's narrative, it's way more rural. And both are very enjoyable. I'm probably going to finish this either today or tomorrow because it's not that long. I have less than 70 pages left, I think. Yeah. Witches. So next I went to my local Half Price Books, which really didn't have anything that I wanted. I sold back a couple of children's books and I think like one or two adult paperbacks, and I got a whopping $3 back, which is always kind of weird. I was a little surprised because the kids' books that I sold were like really good condition hardcover picture books that had been like construction books for my son, but they were like given to him when he was aging out of like that being obsessed with trucks. So we didn't read them that much. But I'm like, I got $3. I'm going to buy something. I'm here. So this is what I end up getting. I grabbed The Artful Parent, Simple Ways to Fill Your Family's Life with Art and Creativity. This is more just like ideas for me for this summer with the kids being home, different art projects we can do. That looked kind of fun. I'm more of like a fibercrafts person. I like to knit. I just bought myself a loom. So like painting and stuff like that is not as much my jam. So I thought this would be a fun thing for us to work through this summer and have some fun art projects. One of my kids in particular is obsessed with doing art. So there'll be some good ideas in here for her, I hope. And it's nice when you get like this huge book, which is originally $25. I think I got it for like $8.99. And then I got myself a coloring book of tarot cards, which I really like coloring when my kids are doing art. This seemed like something fun that I would enjoy doing. So yeah, Half Price Books was a little bit of a letdown. They just didn't have any of the backlist I was looking for. It was just one of those days. You know, it's hit or miss when you go to any sort of resale shop. And even in their section that was like new books, they didn't really have any new books I was interested in either. So then, after going to Michael's very quickly and buying some weaving supplies, I went to Barnes & Noble, which I always go to last when I'm doing a book haul because I feel like I want to look everywhere else first. And Barnes & Noble definitely delivered. I also looked through their entire romance section because their romance section is extremely impressive. I didn't actually buy anything there. But I did make a note to like come back and shop their romance section maybe in like August after I've read all these books. But what I got there were two things that were on my wish list. The first is Age of Swords by Michael Sullivan. I read the first book in the series, Age of Myth, in I think January and really liked it. Kind of felt like Tolkien-esque fantasy, and I've been wanting to read more like big, thick fantasy books. I think this is a 5-book series, but I'm not positive. This only has the first 3 in the front, but for some reason I think there are 5 in this. And sometimes you just want to read a sword and sorcery fantasy book, which is exactly what this is. So I'll get to it this summer. Then I was very excited because after looking at every single store for Sarah Addison Allen's books and them only having Other Birds and Garden Spells, the two I've read, Barnes & Noble had a ton. So I got this one, The Lost Lake, and I mainly got it because I think they had 4. They had this one. They also had First Frost. I didn't really want to read a book called First Frost in the summer. I thought I'd like this one better, and the cover really sold me. But this is about someone who I think like grew up going to this lake with her grandparents, and now she's an adult and she's going to come back to it. And that sounds kind of like something I'd like to read, especially in the summer. So now let's move on to everything I bought online. I talked about giving myself a budget at the beginning of this vlog. And I did stick to my budget, partially because my godmother, who's a voracious reader also, and still treats me like I'm a child in a very good way, sent me a $50 gift card to Amazon when I was at Barnes & Noble, which was really nice, and has made it so I got some romance novels on Amazon. So rather than buying romance novels at Barnes & Noble, I bought a bunch off Amazon that I couldn't find at Barnes & Noble and was like, well, I really want these, so why don't I just buy those since I've got this nice gift card now? So I did. If you think I didn't already use that entire gift card. So these are all a mix of stuff I bought myself and stuff that my aunt technically bought for me. The first one is This Scott of Mine by Sophie Jordan. This is in the Rogue Files series. This is number 4. I've been reading this one crazy out of order. I love Sophie Jordan. I love her world. I can't wait to jump back into it. In this one, a woman has a horrible fiance she doesn't want to marry, so she lies and says she's pregnant because she'd rather be ruined than marry this guy. And then she runs away, I think, to Scotland to just like be a spinster. And then she's going to she's going to meet Laird Hunt McLaren, and I bet he's not going to care. So we'll see. I mean, I always call Sophie Jordan's books like my break in case of emergency. I kind of save these books for when I just like really need to get out of book slump or just like need to feel like embraced by a romance novel. So I'll save that one. Next, I got An English Bride in Scotland by Lindsay Sands. This is on my bedside table to be my next read after I finish Witches. This book, just everyone's talking about it on Twitter, this entire series, so I was like, I want to read it. It's about Annabelle, who's about to become a nun when her mother suddenly arrives to take her home so she can marry a Scottish laird who is betrothed to her runaway sister. This sounds bananas. Can't wait. I've got the bookmark ready to go for when I'm ready to read it. Okay, next, I looked and looked and looked for this book, thinking that someone, at least Barnes & Noble, would have it, and they didn't. So I ordered In a Jam by Kate Canterbury, and it's a doozy for a romance novel. And then it's not that many pages. Well, it's 450, which is pretty long for a romance novel, but it's very heavy. So whatever pages it was on is very heavy. This is a contemporary small-town-ish romance about a woman whose step-grandmother dies and leaves her a tulip farm. She only gets it if she moves home, and she also has to get married within 1 year, and she's just broken up with her fiance. So this sounds like kind of like a Lifetime movie, but I've read a Kate Canterbury before, so it should be much spicier and like a good thing to read in the summer. I love tulips, so I'll enjoy the gardening portion of the book as well. And then I got this one, Broken Bonds by Jay Bree, just because I'm like trying to read a little bit more like dark romance. This is, I think, a 5-book series, and everyone recommended it as a good dark romance. This is another one that feels very heavy, but I don't think it's that long. 418, so pretty long, but not terrible. And the back just says, after the death of my mother and her bonded, I was relieved to find my own bonds. I was sure everything would be okay if I had them. It wasn't. The fate of our people is in my hands, and I know we're better off if I'm alone. After 5 years on the run, I'm caught and dragged back to face the men I ran away from. I thought I was doing the right thing. Now I'm not so sure. North, Knox, Griffin, Atlas, and Gabe may never forgive me, but one thing is for sure. I won't ever forgive myself. So we'll see if I like this. Beautiful cover artwork. Doesn't it have that? I really like that. So that's everything I bought in stores and on Amazon. And then I did order quite a few books from Book of the Month, as you saw earlier, and they arrived. So I'm just going to show them to you real quick. first one I got was The Last Word by Taylor Adams. This was the one about the reviewer who then gets stalked by the horror writer. Sounds nice and scary. I'm sure it will be. Next, I got Clytemnestra by Costanza Casati. This is a mythology retelling. Since I really want to read Atalanta, I think I'm going to save this one for maybe June or July to read because I just really want to read Atalanta first. And I don't want to read 2 mythology retellings back to back. I kind of got to give myself a little bit of space in between. And then lastly, I got The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshani Chokshi. And I actually read some reviews in the last week of this that were all very good. So I'm really looking forward to this. I think it's going to be a really fun fantasy read. I stopped filming and I realized I forgot to show you the amazing book my mom gave me for my birthday, which is Blooms and Dreams. And I'm a big gardener and I got it all from my mom. And this is just an absolutely gorgeous book about designing a garden, a huge garden. And I don't have the kind of land this author has, but the pictures of their farm, the gardening they've done is absolutely lovely and a beautiful book to curl up with. And it's currently living on my mantle as a bit of a display piece during the spring months. And so these are all the books I bought in May. And that was my first vlog. I'm so excited. Oh, look, we got a new bookmark. Usually they're not blue. Here's to 100 months of the best new books. We've hit triple digits. Oh, that's exciting for them. That's a cool bookmark also, a little bit different than normal. So that is everything. Those are my first 2 weeks of May. All the book shopping I did. This is going to be my TBR for a lot of summer. At least a lot of May, June, and July. Probably by the time I hit August, I will have read most of these, I hope. Okay, I wanted to really quickly talk about the order in which I'm going to read these books, which are now just spread out all over my body. But obviously I read this one already. Almost done with Witches. Next, I'm probably going to read Grimm and Barrett by Julia Cross, depending on when it gets here. Now, if it doesn't get here quickly, which it might not, I'm going to read, Books Are Falling, in English, Bride in Scotland. Then maybe Grimm and Barrett. Then I think I'm going to read Atalanta. After Atalanta, No Two Persons. I might try and sneak in The Prophet. And if I still have time to read in May, which I probably won't because I have a lot of writing work to do, I think I'll end the month with The Last Word. And then the rest of the books will all be on my June TBR/July TBR. If you enjoyed this vlog, please let me know because I'm thinking about putting a couple more in. Not frequently because they do take a little longer to film. And I'm so awkward filming in public. But it was kind of fun. If you stuck around this far in the video, thank you so much. And please, if you don't want to, write a comment. Leave me an emoji of your favorite nature-y thing. Trees, flowers, the wave, whatever, the moon. If you do feel like leaving me a comment, let me know what book you are most excited to read in May and whether or not it's a new release or an old book. Sometimes, a backlist can really, really catch your eye. As always, I hope you're in the middle of a good book, about to start reading a good book, or about to start writing a great book. I'll see you soon.